Hi, I'm Mary.
And I'm Katie, and this is The Housewife Did It.
Pop Culture Edition. Finally.
And Mary's Back Edition.
Yeah.
Woo!
Although, me and Mom were just talking on the phone, and we're talking about how much we like Billy. She said he was making me laugh, like as if she doesn't normally laugh when she listens.
Yeah.
When it's me.
Mary, you're fired.
She said he was so funny.
All right.
Whatever.
Let's get into it. I think we're moving into a world where we're gonna have less deep dives and lots of just chitty chatting to do as our reality shows come to a close. But that's fun. We love the chitty chatty. So,
yeah.
On Special Forces, which ended this week, I thought this was hilarious. So Tom Sandoval made it to the final phase. Basically, he made it to the last episode. He just didn't pass selection, but he made it to the interrogation phase, which is what it sounds like. They are being interrogated, and he failed because he was the only one that literally failed. Jojo Siwa left, but he failed because he was unable to show empathy. I thought that was funny. They were like, if you're gonna be talking, they're like, if you're gonna try to not be killed by an interrogator, you have to humanize yourself. You have to talk to them. You have to make yourself useful so that they don't want to kill you. And he did not. And they were like, so goodbye.
No. I mean, the man puts on fake neck tattoos and thinks that they're gonna pass off as real.
Yeah.
He's not in touch with reality.
Yeah. Who finished the entire selection process, I was pretty impressed, was Tyler Cameron, Nick Viall, and then a woman named Erin something. She's an Olympian. But for our purposes, the two Bachelor people are the most interesting.
Nick Viall's posts about this show are so dramatic.
Yeah, that weight loss one.
Mm-hmm.
But that was kind of jarring.
Yeah, but then the one where he was like, I just found out we were having a baby. And I left. I was like, well, you didn't have to leave.
Yeah.
I guess just stayed. But whatever.
Yeah. In Taylor Swift news, many rumors are swirling that after her final 2023 concert in Brazil, Taylor Swift flew to Kansas City and will be spending her off time with Travis Kelce, specifically her holidays, her Thanksgiving and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen some people claiming that she's also moved several belongings and pieces of furniture into his home, and that this is something that they're considering a trial run for eventually moving in together. I've also seen people saying that they are saying they're in love with each other, that they're planning for a marriage and babies. I don't know if that's true or not, but I think that at least the trial run for moving in together thing is probably true. Do you know how she said she's resetting surprise songs after the new year?
Yeah.
I've seen people saying that they're like, she's doing anything to not have to sing London Boy.
Yeah.
Also in Taylor Swift news, she was named the top global artist on Spotify, ending Bad Bunny's 3-year reign.
To no one's surprise.
I'm surprised that he had a 3-year reign.
Yeah, that a shock.
I'm not that he shouldn't be like the top global artist, but that for 3 years in a row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I feel like I haven't known about him for very long.
Yeah.
Um, but as this was coming out, people were putting puzzles together that Spotify had been releasing, and a lot of the speculation was that these puzzles were going to come together to not only announce that she was top global artist, but also to announce Karma, because a lot of the imagery looked orange.
Mm-hmm.
Her hair looked orange. Her one of the vaults looked orange. The lover house looked orange. But once the image came together on Spotify, the colors were a lot more muted than on the billboards. I think it was just discolored.
Yeah.
Because her hair is regular. It's the Fearless Vault, so it's yellow.
Yeah.
I think it just looked different on those lights. But with the end of the Eras shows, we do not have a Reputation announcement.
Yeah.
But we did get You're Losing Me on streaming, which I will accept as a consolation prize because that song is my jam.
Yeah. Yeah, and then Jack Antonoff decides to fuck shit up
Yes, he did.
and post that You're Losing Me was written in 2021. This has led fans to believe that Taylor and Joe have been broken up, or at least leading to a breakup for that entire time. Also confirming people's theories that Midnight's is entirely a breakup album.
Mm-hmm.
I still am not on that train. First of all, the way that Jack Antonoff posted it actually led me to believe that he was saying listen, we just wrote this song after she ate some raisins. It wasn't really that big of a deal. It was just a song.
Yeah.
But it's also possible it's not directly about him at all. She is a talented songwriter who can write about things that are not her experiences. But other people have said or when you're in a relationship for a long time, it ebbs and flows, and sometimes you feel those moments where you're I'm not in this,
There's a TikTok shop thing. I don't know. I think it's a book or something, but it's the advertisements are that it's for relationships that have gone to a roommate phase.
Yeah.
Is the way they word it. And long-term relationships, a lot of people do say those things. And so it's very possible that she thought they were going to break up and then it worked out. I also, though, do kind of wonder if Midnight's is a breakup album because, and I didn't put this in here and I meant to, but on top of all of the drama Jack Antonoff has started, people are also pulling up that the Jack Antonoff remix of Antihero has some pretty direct jabs at Joe Alwyn.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I guess it doesn't have to be him, but that they seem to describe him. He says, sometimes I feel like everybody is an art dude or an art bro lately. And then he says, talking shit about your famous baby. And then he says something about the 90s, which is when Joe Alwyn was born. So people are saying that it seems like even if Midnight's wasn't a breakup album and they wrote this remix, he added this remix later on, he doesn't seem to like Joe Alwyn.
Yeah.
In general, but also that maybe a lot of these things from Midnight's are now starting to seem more like they were written about him.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
Yeah. That's fair.
On top of that drama, Deuxmoi reported a while ago that Taylor Swift and Joe Alwyn had gotten married in a private, non-legal ceremony in the UK, and basically they posted the blind item again because they're saying it's around the time that You're Losing Me was written either like right before or right after. And so they reposted it and like doubled down, and they said like people have been doubting this since we first came out with it, but I have no reason to lie. Like, I'm not gaining anything from lying about Taylor Swift. This is what I heard. This is what happened. And Paine, Taylor Swift's publicist, posted a screenshot of the blind item and tweeted about it, saying it is untrue and that Deuxmoi needs to be held accountable for their actions and lies, and that this has been harmful and traumatizing to Taylor. Deuxmoi then apologized for the effect on Taylor, but not for the reports themselves, because they are continuing to claim that they are true. And again, saying, I have no reason to lie.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry that this has upset her.
Yeah.
But that's what happened.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, people like are hating Deuxmoi, and like on the one hand, yeah, that's like shitty if they like are purposefully lying, but I also think that like that's not the point of Deuxmoi. Deuxmoi is like a submission based, like they're just sharing.
These are blind items.
Yeah, they're just sharing. Whether they believe it or not is like what you can judge them for, but like simply sharing what was shared with them, like we get to decide what we believe. So I don't know.
And I think it's true. I think it's true for Deuxmoi to say that they're not lying, because they did clearly receive this blind item. But I think that on the other hand, Paine is saying like, stop sharing that because you don't know that it's true.
Sure.
Like, just because somebody sent it to you.
Yeah.
But I also have seen a lot of people saying that Deuxmoi needs to take a step back and not mess with Paine.
Yeah. I mean, fair.
If they like know what's good for them.
Yeah.
But I think that it's like a toss-up, because like, no, they're not lying, they did hear that, and like you said, it's up for us to decide if it's true. And like, great, now we have a publicist who knows Taylor Swift saying it's not true. But it's the doubling down is strange to me.
But Deuxmoi did like basically pick a direct fight with Tree, and they said like, we have no reason to lie, unlike a publicist who gets paid to do this job. Now, bear with me. A theory just popped into my head. So, what if, because again, Taylor Swift is able to write about things that aren't happening to her in that exact moment, what if they go have this non-legal ceremony, okay, and they get back, and she's thinking about like, well, before we went and did this, this is how I was feeling. I was feeling like he was losing me. I was feeling like not like we weren't going to get married. Or, you know what I mean? Like, what if, like, it could still be a feeling that she had at some point in their relationship, even if it's not how she was feeling in 2021. And she sings about, like, the marriage possibility in You're Losing Me. So, like, I don't know.
I also think that, like, when we get a Taylor Swift song, we kind of assume that it's about whoever's most recent, unless there's something really specific, like would have, could have, should have. She mentions the age she was at the time, like, we don't, this could be about any of her ex-boyfriends. There's really not anything super specific in it,
and that's how I feel about, like, she was with Joe Alwyn for 7 years, so to believe that, like, for 7 years, she's only going to be able to write about a working relationship is, like, silly. And we obviously saw her write about things that were, like, completely unrelated to her in Folklore and Evermore. But then it's like frustrating to me that we left those and we enter Midnights, and all of a sudden people are like, so it must be about her life again, and it must be about her current life. And, like, that's, not really, like, I don't think that has to be true.
Yeah, I think my pushback on that is, like, that's what folklore is, like, stories. Like, the word folklore is stories. And so I think that, like, in their sister albums, and so I think that we can assume that anything on those albums is just a story.
Well, and we can assume it because she told us, but...
Right. And so I think that it does kind of make sense to think once we're out of those albums, it's not storytelling anymore, but I don't think that it has to be that there are no more storytelling songs. I think especially because a lot of people, like, are not sure that, like, Bigger Than the Whole Sky is about something that happened in her life, because it doesn't sound like it is. And, like, so I think that probably it's not, let me back up a little bit. It's not going to be like Folklore and Evermore, where every song is a made-up story, but I think it's safe to assume that not every single song is going to be about this one relationship she's been in for 7 years when she has the capacity.
Right, that's what I'm saying, is like that would just be so boring. And again, I say this all the time, but I also just think it pigeonholes her, that like she can't write about anything that she's not currently living through. And what I'm saying is like, yes, that was the point of Folklore and Evermore, but Folklore and Evermore should have taught us that she is capable of that. Right. And I think, like, yes, there are songs in Midnight's that we're like, that sounds like her and Joe, like cute, like Sweet Nothing is probably her and Joe, and things like that. But it doesn't mean, and I also get that with eras with Taylor Swift, like we have kind of been like, that's who that album is about, or like that's the era she was in, and like that's what that time period of that album. But I also just think like this was her 10th album. She is like in a new phase in her life. She's doing all the re-records. She's living through her old albums again. Like, I don't think it's crazy to think that a creative streak hit her and she said, I can write a song about something I'm not currently going through. Like you said, it could be a past breakup. It could be a fear she has with Joe and she's able to put herself in that spot. But I don't know.
And I think that Midnight's is so like diverse.
Yes. I agree.
In that way, like we have You're Losing Me and we have Sweet Nothing. Mm-hmm. And we have like songs like Dear Reader, who really aren't about a relationship.
Glitch is like,
at all. And then
probably not about Joe, right?
Yeah, and then we have like Would've, Could've, Should've, that's about a relationship from when she was 19 years old. Like it's got so much like, and she even said on like when creating the album, it's about things that like kept her up at night. Like that's why it's called Midnight, is because it's things that kept her up at night, things that she was thinking about in the middle of the night. Every single one is going to be about something very different.
Yeah.
For that reason.
Yeah. Last question on Taylor before we move on. So part of the theory with Reputation was, will she announce it on November 26th and then release it on New Year's Day? First question. Could she announce it on New Year's Day? Or second question, could she do a Beyonce style, no announcement, just drop it on New Year's Day?
I think that has also become a plausible theory because of there will be no explanation, there will only be Reputation.
Yeah. And she was just with Beyonce.
Mm-hmm. And a lot of people are talking about her Beyonce movie premiere dress, like trying to figure out if it's a nod to Reputation, if it's a nod to the VMAs, like what exactly the dress means. I also, speaking of dresses and Taylor Swift, another thing with You're Losing Me has been around the fact that it was written like right around the time that the I Bet You Think About Me video was filmed, where she wore a wedding dress, and so people are saying like maybe she was thinking like, shit, like I'm in this wedding dress, I've been in this relationship for 7 years, I don't think he's gonna marry me, like, what the fuck? And then Kelly Teller, Miles Teller's wife, was also posting about like how thankful she was that You're Losing Me is finally out. And she's the one who kind of started this, like she reposted something about the Anti-Hero Jack Antonoff remix. And so people are also thinking maybe like Taylor confided in her during the filming of the music video, like, why the fuck does he not want to marry me? Like,
Yeah.
You know, like, and it's like something that I think if you've been in a relationship for 7 years, you're gonna start
30.
thinking,
You're 30.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
You're gonna start thinking, like, why isn't he marrying me? Like, and I think even if you don't fully want to be married, like, you might still wonder, like, why doesn't he want
to? Yeah.
Yeah. I know why I don't want to, but why doesn't he want to? Yeah. You know, like, that's a natural thing to think about.
I think so.
And it doesn't mean that they've been broken up secretly for 2 years.
Yeah. Alright. We must move along, but if ever y'all are interested in us just becoming a Swiftie podcast, let us know.
I think we could do it.
Yeah, I don't think it would be hard. Speaking of London premieres, I just thought this was cute. Kylie Jenner went to the London premiere of Wonka to support Timothée Chalamet, and I really only put this in here because I wanted to say that I'm so fucking excited for that movie.
Me too.
I'm a Wonka fiend.
I have so much trouble picturing Timothée Chalamet being a stepdad.
Yeah. That's fair.
It's weird. Mm-hmm. I think it's the same trouble I had picturing Harry Styles being a stepdad.
Yeah. We'll have a little bit of Bravo news on Winter House. Tom Schwartz finally hooked up with Katie Flood from Below Deck. According to him, and not according to her, they were rolling around on the floor in the bathroom. So, I don't know. They said, were y'all having sex on the floor? And she said, no, absolutely not. Not on the floor.
Not on the floor.
Silly.
Just in the bathroom.
Also, it's been, like, a little hard for me to watch how fucking chaotic Danielle is. Like,
yeah.
I'm a Danielle fan, typically speaking, but oof, like, it's bad. But I also feel bad for her because they were, like, she basically just ended it with Robert, like, a week or two before coming into the house. But, like, she gotta chill on Alex. That was, like, not the deal. When she started, she was like, this is no strings. I do not care. No big deal.
And she wanted that because of her relationship with Robert.
Yeah. Girl.
I'm generally not really a Danielle fan.
Okay.
I don't dislike Danielle. I'm just not super.
Sure, yeah. Billy thinks she's very boring.
I think she's boring. I also just, like, something about her, like, makes, like, is cringy to me. I don't know what it is. But it's already hard enough to watch Alex, but then watching them, like, drunkenly, like, go into the bedroom and her be like, are we gonna fuck or what? Like, I was like,
yeah.
Ma'am.
It was so...
And I do understand the frustration of having sex with someone and then watching them make out with someone else 20 minutes later.
Sure.
I think I mean, not that I understand because it's happened to me, but, like, I would also be frustrated.
Yeah.
But, like, the way, the quickness with which she lost it on Amanda.
Yeah.
Like, just for Amanda saying, like, give me a second because I'm married.
Yeah.
Amanda's probably, she was drunk. She's like,
but it's also, like, I think that's, like, that was such a fair thing for Amanda, not just because she was married, but, like, we are all different people. Like, we all have different standards of what, like, faithfulness or, like, appropriateness is, so she's just saying, like, let me think. I know Danielle, let me be Danielle. Oh, yeah, that would be shitty.
Yeah. Also, like, just now when I said that I would also be frustrated, my first thought was, well, yeah, I'd be frustrated because I'm married.
Yeah.
And that would be a problem.
Right. Yeah.
So, I think Amanda was absolutely right.
Mary, you gotta stop tippy-tapping your fingers.
Tippy-tapping? I'm not tippy-tapping.
It sounds like when you're talking, there's a noise that goes perfectly along with your point. Like this. You're like, I don't hate Danielle.
On Southern Charm, Craig convinced everyone to go on a trip to Jamaica to bond with Paige, and then Paige ends up not going. And Craig...
Wait, is that like a power move? Do we love that for Paige or hate it?
No, so, like, this is what happened. Craig planned the trip without like asking Paige if it would work for her. And I think kind of without telling Paige that it was about wanting his friends to bond with her.
Yeah.
And so then he's like calling her and he's like, what are you thinking about like Jamaica? Like, I'm so excited. And she's like, like, I don't think I can make it this week. I just have like way too much going on right now that I need to be home for. And he was like, yeah, like I understand. And then he said, I think we're so privileged that we can just take trips like this and like afford to do it. But also like we do have jobs. And so like I can't just expect her to be able to drop everything and fly to Jamaica, and I really should have run that by her first. I was like, you think, Craig?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think you should have run that by her?
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was kind of sad that she couldn't come, but everyone else still goes. During the trip, Austin admits, or maybe right before the trip, he admits he's still in love with Olivia. But on the trip, he kind of admits that he had sex with Taylor.
Okay, so
it just gets like glossed right over somehow.
So that hasn't come up on the show yet?
It's come up, but they are like adamantly denying it.
Oh, okay.
They have said that they made out.
Oh, okay.
They're denying that they had sex. But during the trip, they're at a restaurant and there's like a dish called the horny goat, or a drink called the horny goat or something, and someone says that sounds like Austin, and Austin said like, oh yeah, that's me, haha. And then he said, I've had sex with 3 out of the 4 women at this table, and the women at the table were Madison, Taylor, Olivia, and Vanita. And Vanita said, I sure didn't have sex with, like in an interview, she said, I sure didn't have sex with Austin. So I'm doing the counting. That Taylor's one of those 3, and just nobody says anything.
Weird.
It was weird. Like, y'all been hunting this information down.
Mm-hmm.
And then it comes out and you're like, After the episode aired, Vanita and JT were on Watch What Happens Live, and JT, which we already knew JT didn't like Shep because he is in love with Taylor Ann. But he absolutely tears into Shep. He says that he has no respect for women. He calls him like a drunk. He says that his only redeeming quality is that he hates Trump.
Yeah, which I'm shocked by, actually, because
he said, and me too.
I just finished an episode where Shep was going off about this is why everyone in America is a bunch of wusses now.
Yes, Shep is very
like he might like Donald Trump.
Shep is very like Southern liberal. In the sense that like he votes a certain way. And he is very clear about how he votes, but he still holds a lot of the traditional beliefs that Southern people are known to have.
I think,
and like the biases that Southern people are known to have.
Yeah. Maybe I'm not allowed to say this, but my read on Shep is that he doesn't mind the gays, but he's a misogynist and a white supremacist. And so that's my feeling. That's what I think of when I think like, sure, he's like liberal, meaning he's just like not a homophobe, maybe.
Right.
But
I mean, when I say liberal, he's like a self-proclaimed liberal.
No, yeah. I just mean that like
I'm not saying
he probably thinks,
I also think
just not, especially in South Carolina, he probably thinks like, I don't mind the gays, so I'm progressive as they come.
And he's always been open about his political views. Yeah. I remember that early on.
Yeah.
I think he's like the kind of like Democrat that's like, if somebody were to call him racist, he would be like, I am the least racist person alive. Like, he's not the kind of person who'd be like, what did I do and how can I fix it?
Yeah. I just was
He'd
talking...
be like, absolutely not.
We were just talking about that when Catherine said that. She said,
mm-hmm.
I am the least. And I just always want to know what that means. Like, every time someone says it.
What's
like,
the measure?
Yeah, like, so now I understood what Catherine's measure was. It was Caleb.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, people say that all the time. Like, I am the last person. I want to find
the actual...
Yeah. And I'm like, what does that mean?
We need to find the least racist person alive. We need to find them.
My feeling is that they're probably not white.
Right.
So...
like, if someone... And here's the thing. The least racist person alive, no one would ever accuse them of being racist because they're the least.
Right. And they also probably don't think to themselves... I'm the least racist.
I'm not. Yeah. That's who Shep. Yeah, that's the vibe I get from Shep, is that he's like a performative Democrat with a lot of internal biases.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I found very interesting that JT said on Watch What Happens Live is that his ex-wife, as far as he knows, has no idea that he's on a reality TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason this got brought up is because they say, like, you're always talking about your ex-wife on the show. And he's like, I don't think she knows there is a show. And they're like, how do you not know she knows? And he's like, we don't speak. And then, he was really beating around the bush, because they were like asking, like, how long were y'all together? And he was like, well, we got married like around the time we were 21. And then he said, well, because she's English. And I was like, what does that mean? And then he said, I'm not saying that it wasn't a real marriage, like, built on love, but we were very young and we wanted her to live here, and we had to grow up very fast to ensure that she could stay here.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of clicked. And then Andy said, like, okay, so does she not live in this country anymore? And he said, I think she lives in the Swiss Alps with a hot ski instructor.
Was this the reunion?
This is Watch What Happens Live.
Oh, yes, you said that. Yeah.
And Andy's like, what the hell? And he's like, I'm trying to be very careful with my words because my mom is in the front row of this audience and they're still very close.
Well, why does his mom not tell him where she lives?
Yeah. So you don't even know what country she lives in?
I mean, I don't need your mom to give you her address, but like, and so you know about the ski instructor, but not the country?
So then Andy turns to his mom and he says, she knows about the show, right? And his mom said,
weird.
No. And he was like, what the hell is happening? And then basically, and Vanita was like, she was like, your ex-wife doesn't know you're on TV? And then she's like, I'm sorry, it's not my time to speak. No. And he said, this is very awkward for me. And then they finally, like, moved on. It was weird.
Weird. Sketch.
Mm-hmm.
Also, sketch. Rachel Leviss officially announced her new podcast coming January 2024 with a strange title choice. Rachel Goes Rogue. Conveniently, Vanderpump Rules Season 11 also comes out in January 2024.
Not going rogue. That feels like such, like, and I know that she's already confirmed she had this affair, but that feels like such an admission of you being, like, a bad person and doing shitty things. Like, I went rogue. Like,
people were
like, that's weird.
People were like, Rachel's revenge. Like, other options. Other
Rachel Reckoning.
Redemption. Like, come on. Weird.
Yeah. Anything except that.
Now,
and you know she was, like, so proud of that. She was like, that's so funny.
Yeah. Now, some TV ladies that we know and love, not Rachel Leviss, believe it or not, were acknowledged in Variety's 40 Most Powerful Women on Reality TV. Just real quick, I was going to read some of note, because good for them. So, Candy Burris from Real Housewives of Atlanta, Paige DeSorbo, Julie Chen Moonves, powerful, debatable. Sasha Colby, Sari Fields made the cut. Heather Gay from Salt Lake City Housewives, which I don't watch, but man, I might, because they seem interesting as fuck.
After my case tonight, we should start watching Salt Lake City.
Yo, dude, after I saw a clip where someone told Heather Gay she looked inbred, I was like, I gotta watch this shit.
No, it's the fact that she asked.
She said, do you think I look inbred?
But, like, that's what makes it interesting. It wasn't like somebody was just yelling at her and they're like, you look fucking inbred. She said, do I look inbred to you? And they're like, yeah.
Exactly, right.
Yes, you do.
Teresa Giudice from Real Housewives of New Jersey, and I really could not see her comeback coming, but she's done it.
No. Wild.
Nikki Glazer, who is not really reality TV related, but I think she's cool. She made the cut. Paris Hilton, who now has a Peacock show.
Cute.
Tamara Judge from Orange County Housewives. Carrie Ann Inaba. Killing it. No? We don't like Carrie Ann. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars, so I don't have an opinion.
So, I don't necessarily dislike Carrie Ann. A lot of people don't because she's known to, like, pick favorites. And once she picks a favorite, she never says anything bad about them. But then, like, the dancers who are, like, working their asses off and, like, getting better every week, she, like, tears them apart. Like, literally, she made Hannah Brown cry almost every week. And then in one of their training sessions, Hannah spent almost the entire time talking about how much Carrie Ann hurt her feelings, and she had to apologize to her after her next dance because it was, like, so deeply affecting Hannah. Also, she takes up so much of the airtime. They have to cut her off, and they have to skip other judges' comments because she won't shut up.
Vanessa Lachey also made the cut, which is a choice. Charity Lawson, Jenna Lyons from the Housewives of New York, Kyle Richards from the Housewives of Beverly Hills, Aisha Scott, Lisa Vanderpump, Michelle Visage, and to no one's surprise, Ariana Madix.
I was reading this list to Sammy, and in our house, we call her Michelle Visage. And I said, Michelle Visage, and he said, yeah. Speaking of Carrie Ann Inaba, we had the Dancing with the Stars semifinals this week. Going into it were Allison Hannigan, Jason Mraz, Charity Lawson, Ariana Madix, and Xochitl Gomez, and they are all also going into the finale. So this week, it felt pretty obvious that Allison Hannigan was going to go home. She gets better every week, and her scores get better every week, but everyone else is getting, like, perfect scores now, and Allison just got her first 9 this week.
Okay.
And she got 1 9 this week. So that's just kind of where she's at. But when they were, like, announcing who was going into the finale, she's the first person they called.
Ooh.
And so then everyone's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Who the fuck is gonna go home? So it was really hard to watch, to be honest, because it came down to Ariana and Xochitl were the two they had left to announce. And Xochitl is 17. And she is losing it. She was, like, trying so hard not to cry. Her whole face was shaking, and you could just see, like, at some point it felt like she realized she was going home, and she just started crying, and Ariana was also crying, and then they were like, you're both going to the finale. And I was like, was it worth it? Was it worth it to put this 17-year-old through this trauma? But basically, Dancing with the Stars said that they think having 5 couples will make the finale even better, and that they will be able to pull it off timing-wise, and that everyone going into the finale has a different reason for deserving to move forward. Basically, everyone's doing really well, and Allison Hannigan keeps getting better, and so they don't want to take it from her now. So, also in Dancing with the Stars news, Harry and Riley went home during Taylor Swift week, but during their dance, it looked like they kissed. And then after, when they were getting judges' comments, Bruno said, "Did you kiss her during that dance?" And Harry said, "A little bit, yeah." Weird. And originally, I thought that maybe he misheard Bruno, because that was a weird answer.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, maybe he thinks he asked him, like, did you trip, or like, did you hit her on accident or something? Like, like maybe he like something happened and he's like, yeah, a little bit. But then on JoJo Siwa's podcast, it seems like they confirmed the kiss.
Yeah, I heard some of it, and it sounds to me like they confirmed, which is almost juicier, they confirmed that they have kissed, but they were adamant that they did not kiss in the middle of the dance.
Yeah.
Harry said, like, why would I do it in the middle of a dance? Why wouldn't we do it at the end? And I was like, I don't fucking know.
Because the song said, I can see us twisting in bed sheets.
Yeah. Kiss, kiss.
It's the perfect time. It's possible. I only saw like a teaser that JoJo Siwa had posted, and so it's very possible that she had like snipped it together, like her asking if they kissed in the middle of the dance and them saying they kissed, but they were actually said at different times. I don't listen to JoJo Siwa's podcast. Yeah. I don't intend to.
Me either.
So I could be wrong. But still, and like, I still cannot get behind it.
Yeah, still weird. So you're telling me y'all shared an even more intimate kiss? Ew.
Right. He posted on TikTok this week. He's like, my favorite thing about Riley is her digital footprint. And he started going through her old Instagram posts from when she was in like middle school and talking about how funny they were. I was like, dude, these are like 3 years ago. Like, this is not long enough ago for it to be funny.
It would be funny if y'all were like doing it at the same time.
The fact that you were able to scroll down pretty easily and find them, that should tell you something. Last tidbit, Spotify Wrapped came out this week, and I thought it'd be fun to share our Spotify Wrapped.
Woo! Yeah.
Let the people know about us. So, my top artists were Taylor Swift, Harry Styles, One Direction, Olivia Rodrigo, and Lizzo. I think the only new one for me is Olivia Rodrigo. Last year, I think it was the same, but instead of Olivia Rodrigo, I think it was Kendrick Lamar. My top podcast was Crimes of Passion. It is the only podcast I listen to on Spotify because it is not available on Apple Podcasts. And my top songs were The Man, Cruel Summer, Miss Americana and the Heartbreak Prince, Lavender Haze, and Forever and Always piano version. Part of the reason I want to talk about our Spotify Wrapped is because I want to know if there was anything that surprised you about your Wrapped, because I was a little surprised by my Wrapped. I was surprised but grateful that my classroom playlist did not ruin my Wrapped, because when it was like going through and telling you, like, it was like, you listen, like, when it tells you like what place you listen, like,
yeah,
it said like, it was like, you listen to a lot of High School Musical and Hannah Montana, and it said you listen like College Station, Texas. I was like, great. I don't want them on my Wrapped, but they did not make it on my artist list. My top 5 anyway. I was surprised that One Direction and Lizzo were in my top 5, because I feel like I listened to some other artists more.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at it.
Yeah.
Like I said, One Direction has been in my Spotify Wrapped, I think, since Spotify Wrapped began.
Yeah.
Probably. So, not surprised, but I feel like I've been listening to One Direction less lately.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of surprised that Steve Lacy wasn't in my top artists, because I feel like I listen to Steve Lacy a lot, but still a good list in my opinion.
Yeah, I was 9% surprised about mine.
Okay.
My top artists were Taylor Swift, Noah Kahan, Post Malone, Ashley Cook, and Olivia Rodrigo.
I was surprised you didn't have Renee Rapp in your
Yeah,
Wrapped.
I was gonna say, like, I guess I was a little surprised that, like, I feel like Olivia Rodrigo is in a lot of the, like, playlists I listen to, but I don't seek out a lot of Olivia Rodrigo.
Yeah.
So
I do.
But I do think that Renee Rapp I probably started later in the year.
Yeah.
So she didn't make it. But yeah, I mean, I listened to Olivia Rodrigo's new album a couple times, but I guess I was a little shocked by that one.
I listen to Olivia Rodrigo is on all of my playlists, and I like listen to her albums independently. But also my husband will hear like an Olivia Rodrigo song and ask me like, "What can you play some Olivia Rodrigo songs so I can figure out which one it is?" And so then I have to go through and play all of the Olivia Rodrigo songs so that he can figure it out. And so we did that once, and it was Get Him Back.
Yeah.
And we got like halfway through, and we went inside City Thrift, and we came back, and he like started it over. He's like, I just love this song. Let's start it over. So
cute. Yeah, I mean, I like Olivia Rodrigo. A lot in the car. I probably do listen to more Renee Rapp now than Olivia, but my top podcast, and I did have 5, but I didn't feel like naming them all, but my top podcast was Crime Weekly. That is what I listen to the most, for sure. My top songs, number 1 song was Stick Season. Not shocked at all. Number 2, Would've, Could've, Should've. Number 3, Homesick, also Noah Kahan. I was a little shocked that my other Taylor Swift songs were Reputation songs. So my other ones were Getaway Car and I Did Something Bad. Not shocked that 3 out of 5 spots are Taylor Swift, but shocked at those 2, I guess.
Yeah. I will say my top 5 songs, I was surprised that Cruel Summer was one of my top 5 songs. I like Cruel Summer, but I feel like I listen to other songs more.
Yeah, Getaway Car, me and Billy really likes, so probably that makes sense. I Did Something Bad was a little surprising for me, but a mutual friend of ours posted on Instagram and said something about realizing, she posted her Spotify Wrapped, and she said, like, I've just realized that my hatred for pop music was based entirely on the patriarchy, and, like, yes. Sad.
Yeah. I saw that, and I wanted to, like, swipe up and respond to her and be like, thank you for putting that into words, because, like, I think we have talked about that, but I don't think we've specifically said, like, the patriarchy, and that's exactly what it is.
We've said it about Taylor Swift, that, like, the internalized misogyny, but, like, pop music in general, like, it's good. Why are we all acting like we want to be edgy and listen to other things?
That's the whole name.
Yeah, pop. That's what I always think is, like, Noah Kahan. Like, if you heard Noah Kahan, you'd be like, he's not really a pop artist, but, like, he literally is. If his shit is on the radio, it's popular.
Yeah.
Popular music. Yeah.
Yes. Also, ending our Spotify Wrapped, I want to thank everyone for our numbers. We are the top podcast for 8 people.
I know that's a small number, but that's pretty crazy. Yeah. That we're like anyone's.
There's 8 people who listen to us more than anything else.
Yeah.
We're in the top 5 for 19 people and in the top 10 for 34 people.
Which, to be fair, is pretty close to our average of episode listeners. So,
but I mean,
hey, that's great. Thank you, everyone. All right, now moving on to all the Bachelor Nation things. It's hopefully not too much, because we've been running long lately on these episodes.
Yes. Yeah, the Golden Bachelor finale, I put like kind of a lot, but it'll be quick to get through because it was pretty standard as far as finales go.
Yeah.
So Gary's daughters met Teresa first. They seemed uncomfortable with the fact that their dad was falling in love just in general. Like the fact that he had said that he was in love with people. They were like, what? But they were very touched by how similar Teresa's first love story was to their parents' first love story. They were really happy with Teresa, and they said that they had their hearts set on her.
Mm-hmm.
But then they met Leslie, and they felt kind of the same way about her.
Okay.
So they told their dad, they're like, we understand why like this decision is so hard for you. They're both great women. Like, we'd be happy for you either way. But he was so awkward with Leslie after that. Like, you could see the shift from where he was last week, because last week it was the opposite. Mm-hmm. And he went on his date with Teresa and he like wouldn't speak to her. Yeah. And then now he's being super awkward with Leslie. And so she like asked him why he was being weird, and he apologized. He was like, you know, like, this is like our first like hardship as a couple, like, but this is just a really hard decision for me. So I'm just kind of like distracted. And then I was like, I think he just broke up with her.
Yeah.
I don't know. I couldn't tell because it definitely felt like I was watching a breakup.
Yeah.
The audience was reacting like it was a breakup, and Leslie was upset like it was a breakup, but he kept saying how hard his decision was going to be. So he was like, I need to go. I have a lot to think about. But then he comes right back and he does break up with her.
Yeah.
And good for Leslie, because she called him out for being a liar in the fantasy suite.
That crowd erupted.
She did not let up at after the final rose.
Yeah.
She felt the same way at after the final rose as she did in the moment. And she said, I'm not going to say what you said because, like, you have this fiance now and she doesn't need to know. But what you said made it very clear that I was going to be your fiance.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I didn't realize until today. But then, like, don't be making promises to anybody.
If there was even a chance, then you shouldn't have said that. Yeah.
Because here's the thing, and this is like, I think, I am not gonna lie, I know that everyone loves him, but this specific thing that happened really made me be like, I think Gerry kind of sucks. Mm-hmm. So last time in the fantasy suites with Leslie, he told her, my daughters told me to not think about who I can live with, but who I can't live without.
Yeah.
And I cannot live without you.
Yeah.
Then, when he proposed to Teresa, he said the exact same thing.
No.
Yeah.
Like, he forgot this was televised.
Yeah. So, in the breakup with Leslie, she says that she is once again not being chosen, but this time it's on television. And that he said things that made her feel like he would choose her, and then he changed his mind after 12 hours.
Yeah, that was gut-wrenching.
Yeah. Then she says she's thankful she doesn't have to walk in her $60,000 dress just to not get proposed to. Miss Girl.
Yeah. Wait.
$60,000.
Good God, I hope that's what she wore to after the final rose. I hope you got your money's worth. That did not look like a $60,000
dress.
Oh.
He was very upset because he said he took a good person and broke her heart. He said that it was the second hardest thing he's ever done, right behind his wife dying.
It was hard to watch him break down about that.
It was.
Like, I do... I do feel like, and he said, like, if I knew this was going to happen, I wouldn't have even taken the first step in this process. And he said to Jesse, like, I fully regret even doing this, like, having to hurt someone that bad. So I feel like, yeah, it was sad. But also, your wife dying.
Yeah.
It's the same as that.
And, it is a hard decision. I can't imagine how hard a decision it would be. But you make it harder on everyone when you're saying things that you need to not be saying when you haven't decided yet.
Yeah.
But in the end, Gerry proposed to Teresa, which, in general, on one hand, it did surprise me just because I felt like since Hometowns, his relationship with Teresa has really been, like, fallen behind the others.
Mm-hmm.
But on the other hand, I feel like Gary's been wilding out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it kind of doesn't surprise me that he's doing crazy shit.
Mm-hmm.
And is, like, not following through with everything, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain it. On after the final rose, Gerry and Teresa announced that their wedding will be televised on January 4th. 1 month away.
Quick.
And the Bachelor Nation announced to them that they have paid for their honeymoon in Italy.
Very nice.
They said that they know it's quick, but that it has to be quick because at their age you can't put things off.
Sure.
Their families then met one another for the first time on stage. Like, his family has met Teresa, her family has met Gerry, but their families haven't met each other.
Yeah.
So they did, and they seem really happy, which is great. But I am kind of, like, no longer a big fan of Gerry.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Probably not the only one.
I'm not.
On to Bachelor in Paradise. Just jumping right into it. What we've been waiting 2 weeks for. I was shocked at how well Jess handled the breakup with Blake.
Mm-hmm.
She was just like, I can't even argue with you. We are not moving at the pace that we should be. You're right. Whatever. The weirdest part of the whole episode for me, I'm gonna make a dramatic statement. So weird. Why did it seem like Blake and Kylee had chemistry when she followed him out to the car? Am I tripping? They were, like, this close to each other's faces, and she said, so there's, like, no one that you would consider staying for, which is like, dude, the show ends in a week. No, there's not.
Yeah.
And he was like, Kylee. And I was like, what? What are y'all saying to each other?
She said, I can't be here without you. Girl, since when?
I
didn't even know y'all were friends.
I know. I literally was like, oh my god, he's going to lean in and kiss her. This is going to be the craziest shit that we've seen on Bachelor in Paradise in years. No. But, strangely, also at the car, it seemed like Kylee and Blake were insinuating that he does feel really strongly for Jess, but that it is Jess that doesn't feel the same. So,
I think that's a lie.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I don't know. That was, like, kind of the issue we had before, was that Jess still wanted to date people. And he was like, I'll let her or whatever. But it doesn't feel like that was the problem anymore. And so I think that's, like, a bit of a cop-out.
Yeah,
Strange.
I agree.
Then on to, I guess, the next hot button conversation. Mercedes and Tyler talk, and man, I was locked in. That was some shit. But I was like waiting for her to be like, plus you said some rude shit about me at the roast.
Yeah, the whole time I was watching that conversation, I was like, he looks like pathetic.
Yeah.
Like, he was like trying to look so sad.
Yeah.
And like, was just spewing bullshit.
Yeah. And she basically was, like, trying to say, like, I don't really feel like you're that, like, you've not, like, expressed much to me. Like, you say you're into me, but, like, what does that mean? And then he basically said, like, we don't have a spark. And she was like, okay, like, if we don't have a spark, then why are we doing this? And he's like, well, because I'm looking for it. And I just think, like, he said to her, which is, like, super gaslighty, but he said to her, like, maybe we just have different definitions of spark. But I just think that, like, inherently, a spark is, like, an early on thing. It's not, like,
a there are no different definitions.
Thing. Yeah, like, love is developed, and, like, other emotional connections are developed. A spark is, like, literally what gets this shit going. Like, what?
Yeah, I like the way that conversation ended, because I was like, good for her for, like, knowing her worth.
Yeah.
And, like, be like, if you haven't found it, like, I'm not sitting around while you go hunting.
Yeah. Hey, good for him for just leaving right away.
Yeah.
But poor Rachel this episode. I do, like, when she first was, like, going to be like, I want Jordan, I was, like, a little nervous. Like, I was like, girl, like, you weren't even all in on him. So it feels, like, a little hard now that you're mad at Tanner to expect him to be all in on you. But I didn't like his reasoning. When he was saying that, like, he wasn't sure he saw Rachel as romantic, and I'm like, then I'm not sure I understand what you see.
Why'd you take her on a date?
Your only, like, interactions with Rachel have been romantic. They've been dates. Like, I get on Paradise, you can sometimes form friendships, like Blake and Kylee, and, you know, whatever. But, like, your entire,
y'all be making out
your entire knowing of Rachel has been romantic. So, like, that's weird to me. I also just felt so bad when she was so shocked that Mercedes called his name. I am, though, kind of glad that Mercedes did first, so that he wouldn't accept Rachel's rose, because I thought it was so fucking scummy that he was like, I mean, I'd like Mercedes' rose, but, like, Rachel could give me hers too. And I was like, you just got done telling...
I hate when they say stuff like that.
You just got done telling everyone that you're, like, fairly certain it's not romantic with her. Again, this is the last week. It's gonna be the last week. So, like, just leave it. But, yeah, so he saved her, I think.
Yeah. Brayden saying he let Rachel slip away made me want to scream.
Yeah. Do you think they, like, based on what we saw at that after the final rose that we've talked about, like, do you think they link up after?
I kind of do, because I feel like a lot of our favorite, like, Bachelor and Paradise couples did, like, leave the show and then link up afterwards, like Kaylin and Dean and Becca and Thomas. Like, I think, and so I can see, like, I could see it happening.
Yeah.
I'm hopeful that that's what happened.
Yeah. I'm also sure that Jess is glad that she's finally getting her chance with Tanner. But poor Taylor, who I didn't even know the name of until this episode, when he thought that Jess called his name, but she really said Tanner.
Yeah.
But also mostly poor Jess, because she looked mortified. Like, she was like, no.
Yeah.
No. Like, in that moment, I would have really debated, like, do I say no? Or do I just let him... I guess I'm with Taylor now.
Well, they've done that before. Jesse Palmer did that, and he didn't really say anything, and then he, like, pulled Chris Harrison aside and was like, I meant to say someone else's name. And, like, got, like, an extra rose brought out or something. I think. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Something like that. But I loved seeing Jess be the it girl in Paradise. It's what she deserves.
Yeah. She's them all so coming.
Cute.
Yeah. All right. Now, who do we think is going to end up engaged? I, like, wonder about Sam and Peter, because I think they're, like, so solid, but they're also so fucking boring and, like, never on my screen that I, like, don't know.
It still feels recent.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. They seem like they've, like they're fucking married.
I think Kat and John Henry will get engaged.
I wonder it just because of Instagram. But
yeah,
I guess Avon and Kylee is like the most obvious, but I don't know, Kylee. I'm
yeah,
still looking at you funny after that interaction with Blake.
yes. And after the preview where Avon says, like, all you care about is an engagement, like, Avon, that's the show you signed up for, and I'm really getting, like, sick of that being, like, a narrative in Bachelor Nation, that, like, you only care about one thing. Yeah, I do.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm fucking here. Zach said the same thing about Jess during his season, that all she cared about was getting a one-on-one date, and that's not what this is about. Yeah, she does care about getting a one-on-one date, because she hasn't gone on a fucking date with you.
Yeah.
And she wants to marry you.
Yeah.
But like, that's the fucking point of The Bachelor.
Yeah, I, like, would have gotten that comment if it was someone fresher. Like, if Michael was, like, Olivia, girl, like,
right.
We're not there yet, but why all you want is a proposal? You don't even care about me. Or even if John Henry was like, yo, that's not, whatever. But it's like, y'all are, like, fucking in love. You've been together this whole time. On this show, when you fall in love, you get engaged. That's what you do. Then you shouldn't be here.
Like, who are you kidding?
Yeah.
Whatever.
I guess we'll see you next week.
Is next week the finale?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And then we'll have nothing.
Yeah.
Hope you're hungry for nothing.
Till January.
Joey's season will be soon.
Yeah.
I guess.
All right. I guess that's all we have. Again, thanks for listening. If we're your top podcast, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, if you're one of the 8, please tell us.
Yeah, for real.
Go comment on our Instagram or something.
Yeah.
Like, we want to know so bad who you are. I'll send you a personalized thank you gift.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we'll do something special.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.